because
Oh, nice.
it's like, see, I'm used to Zoom on my work computer, but I'm no
Sure.
longer working. So now I'm on my iPad and
And
now I can only see myself.
oh, okay. Well, we can see you.
I don't want to see me. I only want to see you guys. Anyway, all right. There you guys are.
Okay.
All right. Hi. I'm Mary Jessie, actually Mary Prince. I graduated from Kinnick in 1982. Um,
Mm,
it's funny, everybody thinks that I was at Yohai a really long time, but I was actually only there for 2 years. But
mm,
then, but my I have two sisters, and so they stayed for quite a while. So I would always go back during my college summers. But I'm actually an Okinawa baby, so I started school on bases in Okinawa.
oh, which schools?
uh, Bases that don't even exist anymore.
Oh,
so,
okay.
I started school at Naha Air Base a long,
Mm,
long, long, long time ago. So yeah, Naha Air Base closed down in like 75.
Wow.
So for me growing up, I always wanted to go to Kubasaki High School. I wanted to be a Kubasaki Dragon. But then of course we moved, and then we were in California, back and forth, back and forth. And then I ended up at Yohai, and it
mm,
worked out very well for
mm.
me.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm Steve. And my first year at Yohai was in Yokohama in junior high school. So I went to Yohai slash Kinnick from 1965 and
Oh,
graduated in 70. So, yeah. So is it Angelina or Angelina?
Angelina.
Okay, Angelina, tell us about yourself because this is really about you. So,
Mm. Okay, so I recently graduated from Kinnick. A little bit about myself. I was actually born in Yokosuka. Um, but then around the age of 6, I moved to Italy. Lived there for about 2.5 years. Then I went to Connecticut and then Michigan and Hawaii. And then I finally came back here during freshman of high school. Um, but then there was COVID, and then we had to get we had to do the whole online thing, which isn't actually that bad, to be honest. To me, it was, you know, I didn't really have friends when I first moved here, so I was just like most of the time I was just talking to my friends I made in Hawaii. And well, after the online thing, Connect was actually fairly pretty early. We finished we only did online for about a quarter. And I think during sophomore year was when we went back to in person. Uh then I think sophomore year was going back and forth with the whole COVID thing. Where we'd always have like constant updates of, rising, falling. But yeah, during my time in Kinnick, I did like many extracurriculars. Even though there was COVID, I tried to, do as much as possible with what was given to me, like because I know there was a lot of like mitigations and things I couldn't do. Even this year, I feel like because of COVID, there's a lot of restrictions, I would say, by the administrators. So we couldn't really graduate off base. We couldn't, there's just a lot of things that were just restricted because of COVID. But then yeah, but then I we learned to like cope with that and like do like best do the best with what we are given. So I remember sophomore year I participated in Japanese, not Japanese National Society, but junior science symposium, Far East events, also creative expressions. I also did too. And that was also online. And you know, it was a it was a lot. It was a lot. But we were able to get through it. And I think Kinnick itself has a very tight community, and the whole COVID shenanigan was just able to bring us together. And I feel like it's just something like I can just talk about, after 4 or 5 years later, be like, oh, remember COVID? you know, when that was a thing. Yeah, it was
Well,
just I don't know how it was for adults, but it was yeah, it was a little it was disappointing a little bit with how my high school years were a little bit like it felt really fast. Like it was stolen because we just couldn't do anything off base because Japan was really heavy with the restricting COVID. And so a lot of things were just on were just like weren't just open for us, we just couldn't really do a lot of class trips and all that stuff. um but on a positive note, I made a lot of friends. I made a lot of good friends, and the teachers were all fine. um Shout out to Mr. Rothney, if you shout out to Mr. Rothney because he's really nice. um and I don't is That's basically it for me though, like in terms of what I've experienced and what I've learned.
so could you clarify again? You said you guys were only on what? You were only on like remote learning for only a quarter?
For a quarter, yes. Quarter four was only I think it was only quarter four where we were remote. Or no, it was I think the end of quarter three was when we actually started.
So a little over a quarter.
A little over a quarter, and then there was a whole summer, and then I think we just went back in person. But then because like I mentioned before, there was like surges of like
Right.
COVID cases rising and falling in the base. Um, so I remember semester one of sophomore year, we had our semester exams, and that was actually canceled because of the rising COVID.
Right.
Um, yeah, in the base.
Got it. How many is in your graduating class? Because I had posted your live graduation and everybody is asking me, and I have no idea.
I actually don't know. I would say around 100, a little over 100.
Okay, so it's not as
Mm,
big as it looked on screen. Because
yeah.
Steve, how many was it in your graduating class?
106.
Wow, that was big.
Well, how
Class
many
of 82, we had 63, and I think 4 were graduating juniors.
really?
Mm.
Wow. Wow.
Okay, so,
Hmm.
huh.
So, Angelina, what's going to be your favorite memory of Kinnick Rio High?
My favorite memory of Kinnick. Hmm. I would say my Far East events, to be honest. Far East Creative Expressions. I think this year we were finally able to do it in person. I've participated in it for 3 years since sophomore year, and we were just doing it online. But this year we were able to actually do it in person. And so all my friends, creative expressions basically where artists go together, come together, and they have 3 days to like create like an artwork, right? And so during COVID-19 when we had to do online, basically there was no time limit. We just could just submit anything that we want, and we just um they just assess it, but that's a little boring in my opinion. So just coming together and like working on stuff together with other people from other schools that are also passionate about it, as also passionate about what you'd like to do. So there's actually different categories for creative expression. There's digital art, painting, um there was 3D, sculpting, drawing, photography, and we were in Tokyo for about roughly a week, but we had 3 days to work on our artworks. And I think we made a lot of good memories for Far East Creative Expressions, and I was able to learn a lot about myself and what my limits were basically if I was in a very stressful environment. And, it was basically like suffering together, which made me bond a little bit more with my friends. So yeah.
Thank you.
Were you at the Sano?
Yeah, I was at the Sano.
Okay, because that'll bring back a lot of memories for a lot of alumni as well.
Mm.
But you were at the new Sano.
Yeah, the new Sano. Is that different?
There used to be an old Sano, right, Steve?
Oh, really?
Yes.
There's a new Sano for a reason because they tore down the old Sano, which was multiple buildings and such, and then built this new place.
Mhm.
And this new
I
place
didn't
isn't
know
that
that.
new.
Yeah. So, Mary, what questions do you have for Angelina? I've got some, but go ahead.
How do you think being at Kinnick and living overseas will help you with your college career and beyond?
I would say that our Kinnick is really special. There's people that come from all over the place, um, that just so happen that their fathers or mothers decided that they're gonna go to Yokosuka and they just happen to be there. It's really the friendships that you make in Kinnick is almost like I would say fate, to be honest. It's really like it might just be some random reason as to why their parents decided to come here. And adaptability really. Um, what makes a difference from a Kinnick student to any other high schooler in the US is that we have just so many people, diverse community where these come with diverse backgrounds, they come from all over the place. And it's really just they might be there for a year, they might be there for a few months, they might have been in Yokosuka for 8 years or 9 years or 10. Um, thing about it is that as like a Kinnick student, you have to learn how to make friends and then watch them leave. I don't know if that was the same from for in the 1900s, but I'm guessing it is where it's really it's a
Oh
temporary
my
sort
God,
of
Steve.
feeling.
She said the 1900s.
Yeah, I know.
Is
When
that
I think
her?
of the 1900s, I'm thinking of like, the 10s and 20s before World War
Oh
II.
my God. That was so
Actually,
painful.
the 70s were in the 1900s too. So it is
Sorry.
somewhat amusing. Yeah.
Oh, yes. No.
Yeah.
It I think that part of Kinnick and Yohai remains the same. Because I think, you're probably pretty amazed that these old people who graduated 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago
Mhm.
are still in the community and talk about high school in Yokosuka that most people don't know anything about.
Mm.
So we still have that camaraderie and that shared experience. And decades later, we're still talking about it.
Mm.
Yeah. I'm quite connected to several of my schoolmates. I graduated 53 years ago and connected with people who graduated even up to 60 years ago. And
Mm.
believe it or not, we still say that our years at Yohai or Kinnick, and we were in Yokohama. That's when the school was in
Oh
Yokohama.
yeah.
But many of us will say those were some of the best years of our lives. And I think people who are over here stateside don't realize how special that experience was for us. It was, yeah. I went to Kinnick, Yohai during some crazy years. Height of the Vietnam War. But we still had a very very special experience. So,
Mm.
at the
So
risk of stating the obvious, we are very proud of you, Angelina, and we're
Thank you.
very excited.
Thank you very much.
Well, what are you looking forward to rather, as you transition to UC Denver?
Um, what I would be looking forward to the most, or just like in general?
Everything.
Well, there's the freedom aspect, of course. Like you're finally leaving your nest, maybe like being able to develop your independence, I feel, because um when you're with your parents, I feel like there's that security, and then once you leave, it's like, oh, I have to now I'm by myself and I have to learn things on my own, and that sort of thing. It's scary, but also at the same time, it's kind of rewarding and a step towards being an adult, which I think everybody just has to do. Um, but I'm really looking forward to that sort of that independence. Not saying that like not like partying and like like doing illegal stuff. That's not what I'm saying. It's more so like that's not what I'm saying necessarily saying as what I'm looking forward to is that I feel like I'm a little sheltered. I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little sheltered. So um just like taking care of myself, like washing the dishes or like um you know the washing machine, like cleaning my clothes, laundry, like I just handling that all on my own is I feel like I'm really dependent on my parents doing that. I just want like that sort of development for myself is also what I'm looking forward to, and see if I can handle it and see if I can get that um work routine, that like daily routine, that responsibility. I just want to develop that as well. So mm,
Will your parents still be in Yokosuka when you go to college? So
I
you'll
would
have a
say
chance to come back for summers?
yeah, winters and summers, yes.
Great. Mary, any other questions you have?
Have you been to Colorado before?
No, I have not been in Colorado before. Well, from
Um,
what I hear, it's really nice.
well, I'm talking to you from Denver.
Oh, oh, okay.
I had never been here until my son and his wife just recently had a baby. But I
Oh,
also went to a college that, to a place I had never been before. So I was just curious if, if you had
mhm.
been there and there were certain things that you were, that drew you there, or you were going specifically for the college curriculum. But you're going
Mm.
specifically for the college curriculum.
And also because like from what I hear, one of my top priorities from if like for like a college living area, or like for where I were to move if I were to go to college, it's like their safety,
Mm,
really. And from
absolutely.
from what I hear, I've done like several researches on like Denver, and I've just felt like Denver is really safe. It's not as like chaotic as other big cities like Chicago. Mainly it's just like gun violence, that I'm looking out for because I just don't want that stress, don't want to deal with that. So, I mean, yeah, you'd find that anywhere, but I just as if I can like get that percentages, like mitigate that as much as possible, then
Steve,
What,
I'm sure that, even when you left Japan and went back to the States, wasn't that one of the biggest things was that it was so safe to do whatever you wanted in Japan?
for me?
Yeah.
Oh,
Was that the same for you? Yeah. Because I
absolutely.
think it was for all of us. It was
Oh
just
my
safe to do
goodness.
whatever you wanted in Japan.
Yeah,
Walk the
yeah, Japan's
streets,
safe.
take
Right.
take the last train home, whatever, and you were never really concerned about your safety.
Right. My entire childhood and adolescence was in
Yeah,
Japan. I moved to Japan in 1953 and left in 1970.
Mm,
And yeah, my parents had me ride the train by myself to kindergarten and elementary school,
absolutely.
and
Yep.
didn't think anything about it. It was very safe. And I would, come home from Yokosuka because that's where my girlfriend lived senior year of high school. And I'd land at Yokohama Station, at midnight and walk home, So didn't think anything about it. Angelina, as you look to transferring back to the United States, first of all, when do you plan on arriving in the USA?
When I plan on arriving is August.
Okay, so you've
I'm
got
planning August.
probably a little more than a month yet. Um, is there anything you're apprehensive about?
Um, Apprehensive. I'm sorry. Can you define apprehensive?
Sure, sure.
I'm
Um,
sorry.
is there anything? No, no. Is there anything that causes anxiety for you as you think about leaving Japan, leaving, the safety
Um,
of your parents' home, and striking out on your own?
Striking out on my own. Um, to be honest, it's just like getting mugged or
Yeah.
like
That's
um
a
that's
reasonable
anxiety.
concern. I hope it, doesn't happen because I hope that, the campus where you are is a very,
Oh,
very
it's safe. It just like generally like if I were to be out during the nighttime, just that sort of like gotta look out for yourself. But I guess also like I would say Colorado is kind of known for their little their little the drug thingy.
yeah.
Their their drug thing.
Colorado's not the only state anymore.
No, that's for
Not
sure.
the only state anymore, but it's
Anymore,
kind
yeah.
of it's kind of known for it. So I don't want to associate myself with that sort of thing. So I'm peer pressure. I'm worried about peer pressure.
I think, at least my experience was, and you may find it too, is when I started college, I realized how much more mature I was than many of my college mates because of my experience living in Japan and
Mm-mm.
a third culture kid. And I'm not saying necessarily you will find that, but don't be surprised if you do. And
Yeah.
that will be to your credit. So,
And I would also say like probably the diversity a little bit
mhm.
because I feel like Colorado is mainly what's Caucasian people. Although I would say Denver is more diversified, Colorado as a whole is still very much you know, not as diverse as other states like California or Texas. So I would say because Nelson is just so diverse with like people with all types of backgrounds. It'll be like a little change for me to just move back to like the States and be surrounded by people that I wouldn't be able to necessarily like relate with as in like my ethnicity but also like my background because I'm just all over the place now. I've been like everywhere around the world and it's I think it'll be a little difficult for me, which that's how I'm a little anxious
Mhm.
because I think in Hawaii I was in a military base. I
Mm,
went to middle school that was on a military base called Wheeler Middle School.
mm,
And then first semester of high school, I went to a public school
mm,
called Mililani. Um so there I realized I struggled a lot
mm,
making friends because that background of um like just going all over the place, moving around is just not a thing. And that it was not a thing in Milani.
mm,
So I struggle a little bit making friends. And also those people, like they've known each other for like years, like 10 years. When they say best friends, they mean very long time, like 12 years. And
Like their
I'm
whole
just,
life. Like their
yeah,
whole
that's their
life.
whole life. Yeah. So like, and also recently I was on the orientation. I was on the online orientation for Colorado, and I saw like a lot of the students there were from Colorado, right? So I was a little bit like, oh, these people probably know each other from their school and probably have their own history, while I'm just from a whole new country with just like a little bit of an outlier. But I think I'll be able to like, you know, integrate myself well because that's what I've just been doing for all my life. Connecticut, Michigan, that's what I've been doing. So,
mm.
you know, I'll get there.
That's wonderful. I'm curious, where in Michigan were you?
Um, I forgot. I
That's
forgot.
okay. That's just,
It was
You were
only for a
probably little.
year.
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
live in Michigan now, and so, just curious, but doesn't
Mm.
matter. Yeah, I was thrilled that, you were accepted at Ohio State, even though you chose not to go there. So, because
Yeah.
I lived for 38 years in Columbus, or suburb there.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that like I was communicating with my father, and
Uh-huh.
Ohio State was one of the states that I was planning to go to.
Mhm.
It was yeah, but then I kind of my dad was it was all about like the dangerous, like how dangerous Ohio is, and I don't know what area he went to, but he was like downright against it. So I was yeah.
Unfortunately, Columbus, over the past couple of years, has had a lot of homicides, and that's a real problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Mary, any
That's
other questions you have? We got about 10 more minutes.
Um, just to let you know, I mean, because I raised my children overseas as well, and so, um, just like they're used to diversity and such. But at college, remember that is also a lot of international students,
mm,
and on occasion, if you need some international people, yeah, most
mhm.
colleges at least have that. So you have that. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
you have that way into a more diverse community if you seek it.
Mhm.
Because even as adults and traveling through the United States recently to places I've never been, what I've also noticed is the lack of diversity depending on where you go.
Yeah.
So, it's just something that after a while you realize, and then,
And
you
you just
just
gotta
make
get used to it.
adjustments. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Thank you, Mary. All right. One more question that just
Mhm.
grins and giggles. Do folks at Kinnick still talk about one of Kinnick's most famous alumni?
Uh, yes. Are you talking about the Star Wars
Yeah, Luke
actor?
Skywalker.
Hamill?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, we still talk about it.
because that's pretty cool. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
old guy.
Well,
Yeah.
Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, was the student council president the year before I was. And
Oh,
the night that
really?
he graduated, I talked to him about how to plan my campaign to succeed him as student council president. So
Oh, you were discussing
he
Mark
wouldn't probably remember me from Santa Claus now, but anyhow, that was a fun memory.
Oh, I didn't know he was Stuco. Wow, was he president?
What's that?
I didn't know he was Stuco.
student
Oh yeah,
student
he was
student council.
president of
Yeah.
student council in 68 and 69. And then I was in 69, 70. So anyhow.
Oh,
And you do know that he speaks Japanese, pera pera yo.
Squish that guy.
Yeah, not
Oh,
Scots. He's done Japanese interviews in Japanese in Japan.
well,
oh,
He's pretty
Does
pera. He's pretty pera pera.
yeah, yeah. Look at
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Well, that's one. Squish that guy. So, do you speak Japanese?
oh, yeah, I do.
Good. Great.
Mhm.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, both of you. I hope I can figure out how to upload this so our alumni can see it. But at the risk of being redundant, we are just so proud of you, so grateful that
Thank you.
you're going to carry on the Kinnick tradition with the FSA scholarship, and we really want to wish you all the best during your
Thank
next
you very much.
year
Thank
at
you.
UC Denver. All right. So don't hesitate to stay in touch. If you ever need help over here, there's a lot of people who will come to your aid at a heartbeat. Okay?
All right. Thank you very
All
much.
right. Thanks, Angelina, and thanks, Mary. Have a good evening.
You too. Bye bye.
Gambatte ne, gambatte.
Gambarimasu.
Okay. Bye-bye.